from Group 1. Now we are going to present our material about Islamic economic paradigm. Let me introduce me, Clara Ajistiasarani, and my friend Nur Laili. Let's come to the next session. It will be the presentation of our materials. For the first one, Islamic perspective on life. Worldview is a person paradigm in understanding the nature of life. Worldview does not just appear, but is formed through a long process influenced by values, scriptures, philosophy, custom, and various other factors. In Islam, the worldview is based on the guidance of revelation, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad as a guide to life for Muslims. Muslim scholars and intellectuals call the Islamic worldview with various terms such as for the first one, Nazriyatul Islam or Islamic vision. Second, Maulana Al-Maududi Al-Tasawwur Al-Islami or Islamic vision. And then Sayyid Qutb Al-Mabda Al-Islami, Islamic principle, and Samih Atif Az-Zain Ru'yatul Islam Lil Wujud, Islamic worldview, and the last Syed Naqib Al-Atos. The terms differ, the essence of the Islamic worldview remains the same, namely making Islam a system of life that regulates all aspects of human life, promising prosperity in the world and salvation in the hereafter. The Islamic worldview affects various areas of life, such as social, economic, political, and educational, unlike Western scientific and philosophical views that are really on rationalism. The Islamic worldview also includes supernatural aspects that must be believed based on the revelation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And the next, Islam as a way of life. Islam etymologically comes from Arabic, which means prosperity, obedience, surrender, peace, and safety. Muslim is one who obeys and submit to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Islam not just religion, but a way of life that covers all aspects of human life, both worldly and ukhrawi. Theoretically, Islam is a religion revealed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to the Prophet Muhammad SAW as his messenger. Islam teaches balance in life with a comprehensive and integrated system, making it a perfect guide to life. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has provided guidance to Muslims through the Quran, as mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. Sources of Islamic law in carrying out the teaching of Islam. There are four main sources of law that guide every Muslim. For the first one, the Quran. Quran is a holy book as the main source of Islamic law. And second, Sunnah, the words, action, and decrees of the Prophet Muhammad. And number three, Ijma, the agreement of scholars in determining Islamic law. Number four, Qiyas, determination of law based on analogy to existing laws. By adhering to the teaching of Islam and its legal sources, and Muslim can live a life full of meaning, balance, and safety, both in this world and in the hereafter. The Islamic economic paradigm is a framework that underpins economic concepts based on Islamic teaching. In Islam, this paradigm is often referred to by terms such as Tasawwur al-Islami, Islamic worldview, Al-Mabda al-Islami, Islamic principle, and Nazriyah al-Islami, Islamic vision. Definition of Islamic economics. Islamic economics is the study of how resources are utilized based on Sharia regulation to prevent injustice and fulfill human needs. Its ultimate goal is to achieve al-falah, prosperity in the world and the hereafter, while maintaining responsibilities towards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and society. Sources of the Islamic economic paradigm. The Islamic economic paradigm is derived from two main sources. First, Naqli, revealed sources. The Quran al-Wahi al-Matlu, the Sunnah al-Wahi Khair al-Matlu, both are considered al-Adilah al-Qatiyah, absolute and indisputable evidence. Number two, Akli, reasoning and ijtihad, ijma, scholarly consensus, qiyas, analogical reasoning in Islamic law, and then both are known as adilah, al-ijtihadiyah, evidence derivative intellectual effort. Implementation of Islamic economics. Islamic economics developed through empirical validation carried out by academics, economists, bankers, and practitioners. Its implementation is continuously overseen by scholars and jurists to ensure compliance with Sharia principles. The Islamic economic paradigm not only regulates economic aspect but also aims for the spiritual and psychological well-being of individual, society, and the state to attain to pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And the next Islamic approach to economic paradigm. Humans' thinking has always been connected to economic issues such as poverty, money, barter, price, taxes, and the role of government. These problems have not only existed in the present but have been around for a long time. In Islamic economics, there is a gap between theory and real-world practice. Because of this difference, some economists believe that Islamic economic theories are difficult to prove in real life. And there are two main approaches used to develop Islamic economic, namely the inductive approach and the deductive approach, which will be explained on the next slide. Inductive approach. The inductive approach in Islamic economic begins by extracting the elements of theory from Islamic teaching. This method works from specific cases towards general principle and is known in Islam as istiqra. This approach is exploratory and experiential, used to establish the Sharia law of contemporary issues. There are two main stages in the approach. For the first one, understanding the facts, fahmul waqi. From the explanation of the picture above, humans are able to understand the facts that exist if they are able to use the knowledge they have and confirm their minds. After that, humans are able to understand the facts and conduct research. Observation so as to finally find the real root of the problem. The second, understanding the next, fahmun nusuh, searching for propositions that are relevant to the issues at hand, varying whether the object under study match the fact before determining the law. The approach ensures that the resulting Sharia law is truly relevant and contextual to the problem at hand.
The deductive approach in Islam is used to derive Sharia law by drawing conclusions from the Quran and Sunnah. This method is similar to qiyas, which is an analogy-based legal reasoning in Islam. One example is determining the ruling of command in the Quran, such as in Surah At-Taubah ayat 29. Qatilul ladzina la yu'minuna billahi wa la bil yawmil akhir. At this stage, Sharia law is determined to assess a person's actions. The process of deriving this law follows a deductive approach, similar to the method used in Sharia law. From the picture, we can get information that Allah's call to humanity is in two forms: commands and prohibitions. Each of these two things is in the form of judgment, and some are in the form of gairu jazm. The derivative of this is qarinah, where absolute legal decisions such as obligatory, sunnah, haram, and makruh when either doing good commands or violating his prohibitions. Muamalah is regulated in Sharia. It is a form of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including muamalah, which refers to social and economic interactions. In Islam, all economic activities must align with the teaching of the Quran and Hadith to bring benefit in both this world and the hereafter. And the first is definition of muamalah. Muamalah refers to human interaction in fulfilling their needs in a manner that adheres to Islamic teachings. It covers economic, social, and legal transactions that regulate interaction between individuals and groups. And the second is code of fiqh muamalah. Fiqh muamalah governs human activities in daily life based on Islamic law. The two main aspects of muamalah transaction include ethical principles and types of transaction. The third is categories of muamalah law. Islamic scholars classify muamalah law into various aspects: civil law, marriage law, inheritance law, criminal law, and political law. And the fourth is sources of Islamic law, Sharia. Islamic muamalah law are derived from four main sources: Quran, Hadith, Ijma, and Qiyas. Basic principles of muamalah. Principles of muamalah. Muamalah principles are divided in two categories: general principles, permissible, mubah by default, unless there is evidence prohibiting it, must bring benefit to individuals and society both in worldly and spiritual aspects, maintain balance between worldly and spiritual life, individuals' rights, and communal interests, must be fair, avoiding elements of riba or usury, fraud, and uncertainty or gharar. And the second is specific principles. The transaction objects must be halal, not involving prohibited goods or separates. There must be mutual consent between all parties. Fund management must be trustworthy, ensuring fairness without harming others. Transactions should be recorded to prevent dispute and protect all parties' rights. There is a case study you can see and read it. This case study emphasizes that a person's worldview shapes the values they hold, which are then reflected in their economic behavior. Therefore, understanding worldview can help explain differences in how people act and make decisions in their economic life. In your opinion, to what extent does worldview influence the formation of human behavior? Okay, in our opinion, worldview shapes the way people think, make decisions, and act in daily life. A person's value, habits, and lifestyle are influenced by their worldview, such as focusing on profit in a materialistic worldview or prioritizing morality and a religious worldview. In short, worldview is the lens through which individuals perceive and respond to the world. Generalization is conclusion. The Islamic worldview is a concept that positions Islam as a way of life that governs all aspects of human life, including Islamic economics. Islamic economics knowledge is derived from Naqli, is revelation, namely the Quran and Sunnah, and Aqli is ijtihad, such as ijma and qiyas. It employs an inductive approach based on real-world issues and a deductive approach that directly refers to the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, thank you for the watching and listening to our video presentation. That's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.